Reported a couple of weeks ago about how human smugglers and traffickers are using social media to entice would-be migrants with false promises. We now have an equally, if not more disturbing practice that's coming to light right here in our country. Our Fox affiliate in San Diego is reporting that Mexican cartels are using apps like TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram to recruit American teenagers to try and engage in human smuggling and help the cartels. The U.S. Border Patrol said it is doing what it can to try and counter this social media campaign.
Try and reach out to the communities and inform parents, grandparents about the dangers of smuggling and the fact that these criminal organizations are targeting young high school and college-age children.
So, how do you stop the cartels from targeting your teen? Dan Hoff is with us, former CIA station chief and Fox News contributor. So, Dan, what does it mean from an intelligence point of view when the cartels are, they're proficient like ISIS in using social media to attract supporters and indeed potentially help?
Yeah, so they see an opportunity in our wide open cyberspace to contact followers and to try to recruit individuals who could help them in their despicable mission. But really, make no mistake, this is a symptom, as a result of our failed immigration policies. We can whack this mole, but others are going to spring up until we have a comprehensive immigration plan, which we are lacking at the moment, and we're also not taking it, in my opinion, with the seriousness with which we should.
We're seeing some videos there on the right of what they say are some of the examples of how these groups target American teenagers. What should parents look out for? Let's start with that. If a teen says he's got some new friends or he's doing something or he's making some money, how does it work? How do they get in touch with an American on this side of the border? And a 17-year-old goes down there and wittingly or unwittingly is helping the cartel bring people in.
I think this falls into the category of nefarious actions taking place in cyberspace, kind of writ large. There are a lot of bad things that can happen to teenagers in cyberspace, this being just one of many. And what's really important is what we're seeing from our Border Patrol, that they're providing some good indications and warning to parents, and I would say educators as well. This is for our school systems to educate our children about the threats that are out there in cyberspace from individuals where these are non-attributable malicious actors, and it's very hard to determine who they are in cyberspace. I warn my kids, about being very careful, about the people with whom they're engaging in cyberspace. It's important for parents to do that, and then collect the information and give it back to the Border Patrol so that they can share it, hopefully, with our partners overseas, particularly in Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, where these migrants are coming from, because we do have good partnerships with the intelligence and the military and the police in these nations.
As far as we know, have any American teenagers been charged in terms of these type of operations? Or, do they say to mom and dad, hey, I'm going to go down and help this and do that, and I'm going to do some charity work or something like that? And, can they be held responsible potentially in a court of law of abetting and helping a foreign terrorist organization? Yeah,
apparently, if someone is caught being involved in this sort of a scheme, it's a felony, 10 years in jail potentially. Now, again, I think it's over to the teenagers and parents and educators to make sure that they take these indications and warnings seriously, as they should with other nefarious, malicious folks out in the internet, and then share it with local police department and with your Border Patrol. Especially, if you're in Texas, Governor Abbott's been ringing the alarm bell, talking about 170,000 have been apprehended as of March, and then they expect to have another 35,000 minors in custody by June. This is a crisis at the southern border, and it's something that we all need to pay attention to. The Congress needs to act with a little more alacrity, so does the Biden administration.
You've served overseas. What is your sense of what we need to do, as you say, immigration reform, in order to try and stop this flow to the extent that it is going now, and deal with the root causes? The Biden administration is trying to do that right now down in Central America. Will that work, or do they have to do much more?
The Biden administration, at least, has been talking about providing over $300 million in aid to those three nations I mentioned, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. I think that maybe that's part of the solution, but really it's about two things. It's about hardening our defenses And that means more Border Patrol resources for Border Patrol. It means building fencing, which, believe it or not, Senators Obama and Clinton and Schumer supported in 2007. And it also means working with our partners, as I mentioned, overseas, particularly in Mexico, but also in those other three nations where we can stem the flow of migrants. And I think it's up to the president to get up on the bully pulpit and make a speech about immigration, make a speech so that those would-be migrants understand what U.S. policy is. When the Biden administration's, their first action was to end the Mexico, hold in Mexico protocol, which the Trump administration had imposed in 2019, and that really delivered a message to the would-be migrants that it's kind of open season on coming to the United States. So the Biden administration needs to get their messaging right on this.
Yeah, Guatemala, for example, has been cracking down on some of the migrants that arrive on their border, trying to prevent them. And a simple question I think a lot of Americans have: why can't these countries stop the migrants in these caravans before they get up to our border?
Right, that's part of, I think, what we need to be working on with these nations. And, make no mistake, I don't think we want to engage in, to try to nation build our way out of this, with those three countries. Many are fleeing violence, but many are also just looking for better economic opportunities, particularly now during a pandemic. It's extraordinarily dangerous for this crisis to be occurring on the southern border. So we do need to take hard and fast measures with the security forces in those countries and work in partnership with them.
CIA Station Chief Dan Hoffman with a warning to parents and grandparents. Be careful what's on social media with your teens and dealing with this. Dan, always good to see you. Thank you for your insight today.
Thanks, you too.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click